Welcome to Chat Chow, a weekly online show celebrating the personalities in the food industry. This week we're crawling through 15 restaurants at Bon Appétit's Los Angeles Grub Crawl. Chatting with us today is Rapoport, Editor-in-Chief at Bon Appétit. All right,
How do I look?
You look great.
Anyway, you look fabulous. You look cooler than I do.
Cooler,
yeah,
not hot.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, well, thanks so much. We've never had an editor-in-chief.
The first editor-in-chief.
Yes, and a Bon Appetit, so we're so stoked.
Happy to be here.
Yeah, well, so you came on board with Bon Appetit not too long ago?
Yep, about a year and a half ago.
Wow, where do you see the magazine headed?
When I took over, we basically relaunched the entire magazine. Hired an entirely new editorial staff from the ground up, with the exception of Andrew Knowlton, our restaurant critic. And the idea was, let's kind of inject this magazine with some attitude, some point of view, some humor, some sexiness. Food is fun. Let's make a fun magazine. And that was the idea, and I think we've been able to do that. And every month, you learn a little bit more, you hone it, you tweak it. I think a magazine, as one editor once said, it should be familiar but never predictable. The reader should feel like he or she has a relationship with it, but every month they want to be surprised by something in it. It should always be sort of introducing a new menu item each month.
Right, keep you coming back.
Exactly, yeah. You can't just serve the same thing over and over again. As much as I love In-N-Out Burger here in LA, you got to change the menu up.
Right. Can you tell us the concept of the Grub Crawl here in LA?
Well, after we sort of relaunched the magazine, we kind of put our sights on food festivals, and there's obviously a lot of great ones out there, but the one thing about a food festival is you can go to whether you're in the mountains or the beach, and you can taste 30 different chefs' food in one space, but what you don't get to taste is the restaurant itself.
Right.
And I always think about going out to eat. What's great about the food is not just the food, but it's the music, it's the lighting, it's the crowd, it's the furniture, it's the ambiance, it's all that. So we said, well, let's bring the festival to the restaurants. And so this gives the consumer, the customer, a chance to go to all these different restaurants and taste the food and the cocktails within the restaurant as it was conceived. And so instead of like a potluck party, you're getting to go to each sort of chef's house and enjoy their food in their home. And that was the plan. And we did one in Brooklyn, 3-day festival crawl, and then we did one in New Orleans for 3 days, and now we're in LA doing it, the LA Grub Crawl. Yeah.
So what cities can we look forward to next year?
That's a top secret. I do know we are planning to expand it, probably add 2 or 3 more cities.
All right.
And it's one of those things, just kind of in terms of logistics and support and all that.
Right.
And I think what's interesting about it is that each city, the crawl is a little different. In New Orleans, it's very much a walking city, and you can grab your drink and go. So it's a very different feel in LA, which is very much a driving city.
Right.
And Brooklyn is kind of somewhere in between. Very neighborhoody, and one neighborhood in Brooklyn is completely different than another neighborhood. So you can go to 3 days in Brooklyn and have a very different experience on each day.
Right. Well, there's so many great restaurants in LA and all the cities. How do you start the process of picking and choosing which restaurants?
Well, we actually have a scout team. A couple of our event people literally go around and try out all these restaurants, and they kind of figure out space-wise which ones would make sense for an event, which ones are either too big or too small, which ones are the chefs available to sort of really get involved with it. So it's a lot of back and forth, and it takes a lot of effort to find the 4 or 5 that makes sense for the chefs and it makes sense for us.
So you're from New York. What food are you looking forward to trying here in LA this weekend?
Gosh, that's a good question. I think obviously in LA, you certainly get a lot of Asian fusion-y sort of food in LA that you don't get in New York. There's so much good Mexican food in LA, which we don't get as much of in New York, although it's starting to get better. And so I think there's those things that you can Thai food, for instance. That I think all those foods are becoming much more accessible around the country, but certain cities do certain things really well. And that's what's kind of fun, going to those cities and knowing which sort of restaurants that you got to get to.
Well, thanks so much. We're so excited to eat this weekend.
Yes, you got to eat and drink.
Drink, yes, I saw that. A lot of drinking on the menu.
Got to drink.
We're so excited.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.